Good morning, Veterans Council and Veterans fans on Facebook and on YouTube. This is a special podcast here. This is, really a chance for us to get a chance to know the people who are behind Veterans Council and Veterans when it comes to our sponsorship for our podcast. People who are responsible for it, making sure that we can continue to give you this stuff day by day, stay interactive, to stay engaged with the veteran community, especially during this COVID-19 time. And so what you're going to see periodically, I want to introduce you to some of our sponsors. Today, we have the great honor of our first one to get like a test bed on what we're trying to do is Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, retired Navy chief and also CEO for the Triad Leadership Solutions. So first, let me just bring Enrique on for you. Hey, Enrique, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Earth?
Yeah, great. Just give people who are watching a little insight. Who is Enrique?
Yes. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this new thing that's going to happen on behalf of Tony and VCV. I'm Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. I'm a 26-year Navy veteran, retired as a command senior chief. Wow. In that role, I was able to, play a part in all of this that we'll be discussing. And so it's very important to me that this type of support continues. So I run a leadership development company. I focus mainly on first-term leaders and leaders that are struggling, and we take them from struggles to success. But my 26 years in the Navy allowed me to see, we call it sapper in the Navy. Army calls it sharp, but it's the same. It is support for those that experience sexual harassment and unfortunately the assault piece. But I am very interested in making sure that the word continues to get out. This is a real thing. It happens every day, more often than you care to think. And so it's important to me that the message continues to go.
Okay, Enrique, just so for us Army people out there, you are a command master chief. What's that? And what is that equivalent to in the Army?
Yeah, well, it's in responsibilities, it's equivalent to a command sergeant major.
Right. Okay.
But the Navy has a great program that allows E8 senior chiefs to enter into a command structure. So they start going away from their specialty and start focusing on the administration of the command, the Triad, hence why my company is called Triad, that commanding officer, executive officer, and command senior enlisted relationship. And so I was fortunate. We actually have a community that allows you to become a command senior chief and get qualified in that through schooling so that you can be part of that triad. So it is an opportunity for an E8 to experience what a command sergeant major does, but a little earlier.
Okay, I got you. So, and you had mentioned earlier, and we're going to get into that now, as far as one of the things we're really pushing on the Veterans Council of Veterans when it comes to this military sexual trauma and all that stuff around in that. But and you're really a part of that. When we get back, we're going to get back to who Enrique is as well. Okay, so let's just get a chance to see this little promo that I did. So what you just saw, Enrique, that was actually McDare Air Force Base, and I know we keep hearing about SHARP. I'm used to hearing the word SHARP as far as the sexual harassment, assault, and response program. But in there, we saw the SAPR, which you mentioned earlier, and that was on MacDill. And we're saying that every military installation should have a SAPR or a SHARP on there, because they're the ones actually that the victim should go to when they feel like they're being sexually harassed. And you had mentioned to me earlier when we were talking offline about the sexual harassment is prelude to a sexual assault and can be tried as a criminal offense. Can you get more into that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I've been 5 years separated from the active duty side, so a lot may have changed. But I'm actually happy to see that the Army has incorporated the harassment piece, because if you look at it, every violation starts somewhere, and it usually starts with harassment. It's rare that you get a straight up just assault, because it does happen, right? It does happen that it goes straight to assault. I mean, that people suffer these things without warrant, and but there are many times that it starts with a comment, or it starts with a look, or there's harassment involved, and so I'm glad that they included that. In the Navy, we call it SAPR, but I'm happy to see that the Army included that.
Well, I agree, and I appreciate it. By you providing some sponsorship to us, they give us the opportunity to just go out, besides just complaining, to do something about it. And I think doing something about it is by education and awareness. Now let's learn something about you, Enrique, the man. Again, you said you just served 26 years, and then where did you end up settling to? Man, that's one of the hardest things with transition is, where do you settle?
Right. Undoubtedly, that was the hardest choice out of all my duty selections that I was able to participate in. Where you go, and it's almost morbid. Where do you go finally rest, right? But we selected Orlando. Originally, it was going to be Tampa, but I was guided towards Orlando, and we made that decision. Better to say I made that decision and then went back with the news. So that wasn't that could have been bad, but I have a very supportive wife, and she was great to understand when I say I was guided to Orlando. But yeah, so I served 26 years. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I went from Puerto Rico, did my boot camp time here in Orlando. So it was almost like a book in history, naval history for me. Started here, ended up here. Right. My first duty station was in Pearl Harbor, and my last duty station was at Pearl Harbor. So I really, really had a good bookend career. But did 26 years, 13 in Hawaii, the rest around the world. Fortunate to be on almost all the classes of the ship that you can be on. And we decided that Orlando was the place. We have two young boys, so the parks really attracted that. We have family nearby.
So
coming back to family. You
have two young boys?
Two young
boys? How old are they?
They are 12 and 8. Man. Yeah, they are growing up fast, and but I wanted somewhere where they could also enjoy their life and have something to look forward to on a daily basis. Now, obviously, COVID has put a damper on most of all things that are going on around the world. So I'm not feeling too bad, because we're all in the same boat. So we decided Orlando was the place, and I'm glad we did make that decision and follow that guidance.
Tell me something a little bit about your company that you founded. When did you found it, and what was kind of the impetus? Hey, I'm going to do this.
Right. Well, I mean, most people can attest to having at least one day under a poor leader, and one day is too long. Right. One day is too long. So after I had 12 years as a senior enlisted in command status, and so I was fortunate to have the complement that we had. We had great commands. Not everything went okay. Not everything was rosy, but we actually were able to execute and still complete missions and help everybody out through the leadership experience that I had. Yeah, as a young sailor, I did not have the immediate support in my first command. I'd say that command really propelled me to what I do now. Having poor leaders as you growing up, you tend to appreciate the great ones, right? So I just wanted to continue the legacy of those great leaders that I learned from and take it out into the common community. Well, you come out into the common community and you soon see that it's more prevalent than it is in the military. And now we all have it, military and in the civilian life, you're going to have poor leaders. It's just going to happen. But we try to taper that as much as we can. I came out and started working out in the workforce, and I was seeing it left and right. And I said, you know what? I would love to work and continue to do what I do for my family, provide for them. But my biggest impact on this earth will be to generate great leaders from the beginning. And so when I said I focus on first-term leaders or first-time leaders and leaders that are struggling, that's my purpose. My purpose is to get them from struggles to success so that we can see a little less than what I was seeing. And I know most people that are under difficult leadership or poor leadership could probably say, please get one, please come get this one, right? and you're going to get a lot of people that are going to say that. And that's sad. And I really feel that that's injustice to the people who are allowing you to lead them for you to be a poor leader. There's no excuse, but guess what? Sometimes it's supported from the highest levels. And so I like to start at the bottom, but I love to talk to the top. And so part of the work that I do is I speak to corporate CEOs about what they're doing, about what structure they have in their company. I do assessments. I come in and I assess the entire company from bottom to top to bottom. And I give them, a report. And then that report allows them to make some better decisions. And I also work by training the current leadership and maybe fill holes that need to be filled. But all of it is to make sure that the leadership cadre that we have currently in corporate and small businesses, that they're running optimal and they're doing the best for their people. Because we all know that leadership is not about us, it's about the people. But some leaders have that upside down, and that's what I do. I try to I get them right.
Now, when did you found your organization?
Yeah, we started in 2018, and now anybody that understands small business, things don't go overnight. Right? You just don't have everything ready. So we started in 2018 with executing all of the business requirements for the state and so on and so forth. And it wasn't until really 2019 where we really started doing what we do. So we've been around actively for about a year, inactively for about 2.
And can you give any quick recommendations for anybody out there who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur like yourself? And also, if you could think about somebody you can give a shout out to, or organization you can give a shout out to for the audience listening.
Yeah, without a doubt, entrepreneurship is something that is not for the faint of heart. You have to understand that you probably will be doing a lot for little at the very beginning, but consistency is the key. Education is very, very important. You need to educate yourself on what it is that entrepreneurship requires of you. You need to speak to current entrepreneurs. Get educated. Now, I will give a shout out to several entities that have helped me out since starting. There used to be a class here in Orlando called Veterans Business Initiative, and that is still going on in some way. So VBI was a great catalyst for me. The Camaraderie Foundation allows me to mentor, and hey, iron sharpens iron, right? So through mentorship, I've been able to continue to excel in my leadership craft. The UCF Business Incubator Program through VEI, Veteran Entrepreneurship Initiative. They allowed me to get some education through the UCF program. And so I want to shout out VEI for sure. And just the local support here from veterans, FAVOB, which is I'm a member of. All those veteran entrepreneurs are part of that group. And learning from them has been the best thing that I could have done. And so that's why I say learn from entrepreneurs that are currently doing it and get some guidance.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and giving us time, sponsoring Veterans Council Veteran as we continue to try to stay engaged, not just with the veterans, but the family. You kind of alluded to the family a little bit when you talk about you got to go back to your wife and say, hey, guess what? So the family is a very important part of that. And so I really appreciate you taking your time out here. And I wanted to just show you something here. I'll make sure I get one of these. This is our Veterans Council Veterans mug that we have. And that's something I give to all of our guests. And we'll make sure you get that, maybe not in one piece. But we appreciate you being on Veterans Council Veterans for our sponsorship. And any parting words before we can finally sign off?
Yeah, continue to support the education on the SAPR and SHARP. The more educated we become, the easier it is to identify and stop. So for all those that have unfortunately experienced any of the things that go on in this particular subject, or my heart goes out to you, but you're not alone, and you can reach out and get some help, and I know that Tony will direct you right where you need to go.
Thank you, Enrique. And I see you on the other side, man. Appreciate you being on here.
All right.
Okay, guys. So that's it. That's really our meet the sponsor. And you're gonna see a couple of them coming on. And matter of fact, one of the groups, a couple of groups that Enrique mentioned, you'll probably see on his podcast as well. The only way you're gonna see the relevancy is you're sponsoring Veterans Council Veterans, or you have some kind of relationship to mental health for the veterans and their families. So thank you once again for taking time out on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. as well as our regular morning chat. And I want you to know as well that we're having our as we alluded to in the promo. We're going to have our podcast on the 24th of August at 4 o'clock Eastern time. And we're going to have two special guests. We're going to have a guest we're going to have Anita Anderson from out of Belgium. So we're going to have international flavor. And we're going to have Candace O'Neill from out of Pinellas. She's the Army MedCom's SHARP coordinator as well. And that'll be on the 24th. You get more information about that. You'll learn a lot about SHARP and the SHARP program and what is the military really doing when it comes to sexual assault. And could they have really stopped what happened to Vanessa if they knew earlier? Those things, questions you'll have answered for us on the 24th of August, 4 o'clock via Zoom or Facebook Live. Until then, this is Tony Williams out.